here we are again for the special merged episode of Survivor Durant, episode 5, Behind the Mind, here now with Sam Pickett, the Cracker Man himself.
Cracker Man!
What's going on, Cracker Man?
Well, we just watched the merged episode.
Sam has already watched the episode and he's took plenty of notes. He's here to analyze it for you and ask the questions that you want to know. I'll be explaining the creative decisions behind making the game and also the editing decisions behind the episode. Then we'll be giving away the award for the player of the episode. After that, I'll deep dive with a special cast member from the episode in a segment I like to call 1 year later, discussing where their life is at now, post Battle of the Best. And finally, some deleted scenes, clips that couldn't make it into the episode here just for you to see. And it goes without saying, spoiler alert, if you have not watched this week's episode of Battle of the Best, you're about to be spoiled. 3, 2, 1, let's go, Behind the Mind.
A lot going on, a lot of different plans, and it's funny to see when you put 11 people in the same place at the same time, how something so simple, a vote Cameron out, can make everyone so stressed.
Oh Lord, the stress.
So let's just jump right in.
So starting this off, we hear about Peyton's fears. He has not at that point been to any of the tribal councils. He's been in his own way, kind of on the outs. There's something about going to a tribal that brings people together.
Yeah, it's the part where you test people's words. You can hear all night long that they're with you, but until you see the parchment come up and see how they voted, that's when you find out. And going through the nervousness of tribal with others is what brings them together.
We see Kirk and Nate talking, and Kirk's wanting to work with Nate. So we started to see some plans, maybe voting block or alliances.
Yeah, he also mentioned wanting to bring in the other winners as well in that conversation.
Yes, Kirk is viewing himself with the winners of Survivor Durant because he himself is a winner. May not be from Survivor Durant, but he has been a winner in the past.
We're also seeing advantages starting to pop up left and right. Dylan's got an idol nullifier. Ryan's got a deluxe 50-50 coin.
Cameron has the voodoo idol as well as the double vote.
Peyton doesn't have a vote, and Cameron doesn't either for that matter. So we already see things shaping up, coming to a head, and now we're going to go into this merge. But first, I'm sure people want to know what was going on with the Coyote. So for those who aren't aware, we had a member of production claim that they did see a coyote at location the first morning of the event, and it really freaked them out, and it gave me a brilliant idea to later that night troll the players into thinking that that coyote that we reported in the morning, which was true, was back that night. Hopefully to get their buy-in that the merge was going to be postponed and that we were doing something different. And that was the reason for the whole coyote story, was to hide the merge.
And of course, as we're leading to the merge, there's just one last little tease, one last little troll about it. We hear a bit about Jacobs's being happy Briar was voted out. Plenty of comments from Dylan about Briar being a snake.
Yeah, it's so funny how they can have such negative connotations about Briar, and everyone has this negative emotion about him being so sad because he's so sweet. He's like a teddy bear. The reason why they are so against Briar is because, and by they I mean Dylan, Briar burned Dylan in season 1 and then did the same thing again in season 2. So Dylan's like, there's no way I'm going to give you a third chance to burn me. And Jacobs is only concerned about Briar because of Dylan. Jacobs has no true reason to be concerned about Briar. As a matter of fact, if you recall in the first episode, Jacobs wanted to go deep into the game with Cole, Dylan, and Briar. So this whole flip on its head is really unusual, and it's only coming from Dylan's concern because he didn't know that Dylan didn't trust Briar. And to be honest, they don't have any reason not to trust Briar. Briar hasn't been dishonest with them in any way. Briar told Jacobs that he was voting out Shelby, and that's what happened. But Jacobs does also believe that Briar was the one that led the gangway to get out Shelby somehow. He is so confused that he thinks Briar led the crusade.
We get to our intro.
And it's brand new.
It is brand new. I noticed that. It was awesome. After the intro, we see
Little rock remix, I guess.
After the intro, we see the merge feast.
A fruit buffet.
Yes, a fruit buffet. Normally, you would see a merge feast be a bit different. What was the decision that led to fruits, cans of soda from the very first challenge, and some crackers?
I want, obviously, this to be tough, and so I want to feed the players, but I don't want to embellish them. I don't want to spoil the players. And so it's like, here are the crackers that you didn't want to buy, but you're getting anyway. And as for fruit, could have went with anything. Could have went with sandwiches or pizza or whatever. It is my experience as a host that if you go something greasy, you're going to be feeling it through the game, and it's going to negatively affect the players, as well as people in the game, players in the game that required special diets. For both of those reasons, hand in hand, I wanted to do something that was fresh and could rejuvenate the players. I know that they're going to be super dehydrated, and the best answer for that is fruit, and a lot of fresh, juicy fruit, getting power from bananas as well. So we have this giant fruit buffet that won't make the players feel any sort of stomach problems or make them feel groggy or laggy. This should give them the burst of energy that they need. And I'm also not an idiot. I know that these guys can pocket the fruit for later. That's what they end up doing, as well as the crackers and the things that they need. I want them to buy the food and the water with their tokens, but I also, because they're working so hard for their tokens, want them to utilize it how they want to utilize it. And getting to the merge is a milestone, and it's always rewarded in Survivor, and I wanted to reward them. So here's some treats, save it for yourself, make it last, and maybe you can spare some fire tokens through it.
After that, we moved into the first merge challenge, and this is a challenge where I bet everyone was happy it wasn't a heavy meal.
Yeah.
This was, I believe, the first challenge for Battle of the Best that was ever teased. The players were gathered in a circle, stood up, but there was something in the middle of them. And that was one of the foulest smelling things I have ever experienced.
Yeah, surstrumming. So we teased the players that there was going to be surstrumming in some capacity at this Survivor game. We never told them in what capacity. Everyone believed that they were going to have to eat it, and little bananas just had to smell it or wear it. And it led to this endurance challenge being super endurance in more than one way, so it was fun to see.
Bringing the can out alone caused people to drop out, even before it was opened.
Yeah, and so it turned this endurance challenge into also a mind over matter challenge.
Of course, we get some definitely real commentary from Jeff Probst.
It was hard to fight him off. He wanted to be a part of the series in some way, and I was like, Jeff, I don't think I can get you in. I'm so busy with editing. But he demanded that I allow him to be a part of the series. And I was like, the merge challenge, the first challenge is really special. Would you like to be on commentary for it? He's like, okay, I would love to do that. He wanted to do more, but he settled for this.
During the competition, we see lots of comments from the players.
Oh yeah, they were having a good time up there, just doing anything to pass the time. And this was one of the longest challenges we had. It went just as long as the Netflix and Chill challenge. And I will also say, just from an editing standpoint, that the whole Jeff commentary thing, I wanted to do it so bad, but I almost didn't do it because it was so hard to do. It took me so long to find all of the necessary clips and then download their audio files, clip and trim all of those audio files, and then place them. It was very tough, but it was worth it. I would have been disappointed in myself had I not done that idea. I thought it was fun.
At the end of the challenge, we have Jacus winning, but he does not win the normal prize. He does not win individual immunity. Instead, he wins an immunity idol.
Yeah, so the individual immunity idol is just another unique addition to this Survivor game. We're all about innovation, trying things out, seeing if it's new or works in order to take the game to a new level. With the individual immunity idol, it's essentially an immunity necklace, except you have the temptation of selling it if you'd rather have the tokens for it. We've seen that Jacus could have gotten away of just selling it and taking the extra tokens. And of course, you always want to play it safe and use it, but for that round, it looked like everyone knowing that Jacus had it, he would use it. He could have called their bluff and just sold it and took the extra tokens.
After that, we lead off tonight. Or do we?
We don't. It is the arrival of the long-awaited Messiah, Game Master.
The Game Master Challenge. My absolute favorite that we did that weekend.
Yeah, and we get to hear Kirk at Trouble Council just give his feedback on how unique it was just having the Game Master there, doing a Game Master Challenge, and making the atmosphere very special. I wanted to create this entity that was mysterious, that the players couldn't tell if it was good or bad, that he looks so menacing, do I dare approach him? What could he possibly mean for me? The whole purpose for the Game Master is he was symbolic for the death of Survivor Durant, since this was supposed to be our last season and the closing of the arc, starting to finish. We started with a small game, we ended with this big one, we became a real LRG, and now it's the death of Survivor Durant. And the best way to personify that is whatever the Game Master looks like.
With the Game Master, of course, as you mentioned, it's what does he mean to you? To some of the members of our cast, he meant mint chocolate chip ice cream. Others, he meant this terrifying being in the woods. And that night, a little bit of the latter. The screams of men and women of the Game Master coming for them.
Some in fear and some in joy, but screams nonetheless.
This led to the Game Master's Challenge. Our poor, tired cast had to stack animals on top of an alligator.
It was brutal, and they weren't the only ones tired. Like, we were also exhausted at this point. They were going all day, we were going all day. It was, you wake up at 8 a.m., we're going on till 1 a.m. right now, and now we're about to wake up at 8 a.m. again and do it all over again. It was tough.
So everyone was tired, everyone was probably a little on edge in the camps.
Yeah, that's the reason why we set the time limit to 3 minutes for the Game Master's Challenge, because that's over half an hour that you're dedicating to this challenge for each player, not including the time it takes to bring players to and from the camps.
So the next morning, the birds are chirping, the mosquitoes are buzzing, and everyone's complaining about sleeping on their backs in the dirt. But it's morning nonetheless, and there's one thing on everyone's minds.
I know that you're ready to bring it up. Go ahead.
The hunt.
Dun, 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 dun.
I'm back.
The Idol Search.
The Idol Search. This episode, amongst all others, everyone had idol fever. Of course, our main man, Mr. Kurt Carlson, was the same.
Yeah, we had another episode of The Hunt with Kurt Carlson. Again, to no avail.
Maybe the next time.
Yeah, there's always next time.
We see everybody talking to everybody, all the who's and the what's. We hear Kirk attempting to reach out to Jacus. We see Jacus taking a step away. We see Cameron desperately trying to put anyone but himself on the chopping block. We hear talks of Mason. We hear talks of Peyton. We hear talks of Nate. One consistent thing people are saying is that if it is not Cameron, it's a winner.
Yeah.
Even among some of the winners.
That is
the
consensus, yeah.
Some of the consensus.
You're right. And Kirk worked so hard to try to get the winners together. Jacus just wasn't having it. So much so that Jacus was trying to go against the winners. It was just never meant to happen. Not only that, but one of the winners doesn't even have a vote. They couldn't do something if they wanted to, even with the ninja.
We hear Cameron in as part of his previous discussions with Nate. Cameron, seeing the writing on the wall, knowing he might be the one on the chopping block, pulls Nate aside and he tells him a little bit about what he has, and basically says, look, if I go home, you need to loot my body. Of course, unfortunately, Nate does not adhere to that. How do you feel about that? I mean, Nate was given this, hey, I'm probably going home, loot my body. I've got a very powerful idol, and it's just ignored.
At that point, Nate had a lot of information to work with, and Nate doesn't go around telling anyone about it either. And it's also very interesting to see that Nate doesn't loot the body, and he knows what it is. But he knows where it's going to go if someone does loot the body. And perhaps he could use that to his advantage to make sure that he doesn't be the one to have the wool pulled over his eyes. So in other words, he sees that either Dylan, Peyton, or Gabe is going to be getting this voodoo idol. And since he already knows what it is, there's no way that they could use the voodoo idol on him. With that being said, I think that Nate was doing what was best for Nate in that he didn't want to draw any more attention to him than he already had. Nate isn't doing anything in the game. He's literally telling people, I'll vote how you want. We heard him say that to Cameron this episode. We've heard him say that to Taylor. We've heard him say that to Gabe. And that just seems to be his MO, is tell me how you want me to vote and I'll do it, and to just lie low. If Nate was to get this powerful advantage publicly, it would put a massive target on his back. Because to begin with, that was the reason why they got rid of Cameron. So who will we suspect will be next? Nate. And I do believe that Nate wanted to work with Cameron going forward, but his hands were tied. There was too many people who wanted to just get rid of the unknown factor of the super powerful advantage that he got from going to Mystery Island. Nate wasn't willing to fight for Cameron. He's definitely not in a position to fight for anyone. He's telling people, what do you want me to do? Instead of calling shots and saying, no, we can't do this, we can't do that. That was the whole MO to break up Shelby and Jacobs. Whenever Jacobs was like, no, we're not doing Shelby. So Nate's just playing the quiet game right now. I don't know how much of the game that is. It's just surviving.
That's the name of the game, isn't it, though?
It is the name of the game. But you work with what you have. Mason isn't going to the extent of telling people, hey, let me know how you want to vote, and I'll vote that way. But Mason's also not putting himself out there to be a massive target. He's not driving votes, going up to people and saying, this is what we're doing, calling the shots, my way or the highway. Mason's playing low-key. And I would say at this point, it doesn't feel or look like Mason is in a good a spot as Nate. And that has to do with the tribes that they were on. The fact that Nate already has some good rapport with Gabe, Ryan, Kirk, and Taylor. And Mason is kind of stuck with Dylan, Ronnie, Peyton, and Jacobs.
I mean, Nate has had more opportunity to speak with and work with more people he hasn't before, while as Mason has been mostly with the boys.
Yeah, and the issue with that is within those boys from Ogre Tribe, we see a lot of cracks there, and Pink wants to stay together. This could be a stretch, but I am going to sort of blame it on someone like Briar, who just left the Athena tribe, who was like, can I hug you before I go? Things like that do bring tribes together. It really does. And the boys, they're not lovey-dovey. Let's play the game hard, stick together because it's what we got to do. That's not a rock foundation, that's a sand foundation.
We begin Merge with a double elimination. The prize from the Game Master Challenge is announced. It is individual immunity. It wasn't just a extra challenge. It was the Final 10 challenge.
Yeah, we said to the players, the winner of this challenge will receive a reward. Unbeknownst to them, it was a troll because the reward was immunity. In the game of Survivor, you obviously at the top of the challenge say you're playing for a reward or you're playing for immunity. And in this way, we got to troll the contestants.
So the winner from the Final 10 Game Master Challenge was Peyton. Peyton received his individual immunity and did not want to use or sell it, but unfortunately he had to.
Right.
Between Kirk and Jacobs, those were the two, the most votes, who would be going home at Final 10. And it went to Rocks.
Went to a tie.
Went to a revote, not Rocks.
There was no Rocks.
This was the opportunity a lot of the players were wanting. If Jacobs had not gotten immunity for the Final 11, a lot of people would have wanted to vote for him. It was said multiple times throughout the morning. And this was the opportunity people jumped on.
And we still got that really close 4-3 vote you gotta love when moments like that happens. It really excites the audience. I was excited to see stuff like that. I was like, oh my gosh, who's gonna go? And when I first announced it's a tie between Kirk and Jacobs, the whole room just like let out a sigh of relief, like, oh, thank God it ain't me. And then it goes down to the nail-biting wire of a tie that is 3-3 with one vote left. The person going home is Jacobs. It was just really cool to see. And when things like that happen in Survivor, normally it divides the game. The line is in the sand. We know where you stand. We know where our side stands. We're on opposite ends of the thing. And normally it divides the game. But we'll see what happens in the next episode. If the line is drawn in the sand, if the numbers are how they see them, or if these players are truly the best and it's more fluid than we think.
One thing I had a question about was, with that shifting vote topic, did the ninja come into play? Was there just an automatic vote against Kirk?
At the tie,
Yes.
the ninja does not work in ties. Yeah, so I think that the shifting vote topic really caught people off guard as far as them thinking that it was another troll. They're thinking that the shifting vote topic wasn't really going to send somebody home.
Thinking it was just,
Yeah, we're just going to read it.
we're just going to read it. And
Because we did something like that in our 7th game in Twist of Fate. At the very first round, we revealed votes of who would have went home, but they didn't count or whatever, to sort of give someone a second chance out the gate. And very specifically and purposefully, before the game started, I had a lovely speech that was well thought out. I put a lot of time into the speech. I didn't just think on the spot. It'll come to me when we start the game. There are things that I put in the speech at the start of the game that were intended for the players to take to heart. And one of the things that I said at the very start of the game was, take every vote serious and vote for your best intention. The start of the game is a warning that basically before the game even starts, just to let you know, these votes aren't going to be trolls. And knowing that people could think that the top 10 vote was going to be a troll. And so many things happen in the game. People aren't going to remember that speech, that sentence that you say before the game starts.
this is 2 days later.
Yeah, all I can do is give you fair warning and tell you that I did, and you take it how you want. You can either treat it as serious or not. But, I mean, at the end of the day, who knows how many people were affected through that who didn't take it seriously. I think that if everyone, when they got to the urn, was told, hey, this is a legitimate vote, because no one was told that. They just read the vote and voted. Who do you want to vote out in the top 10? If I was there, or there was a note on it that said, the person who you vote out will legitimately go home, I don't think it would have changed anything. I think that Jacobs probably just would have flat out went home, and there wouldn't have been a tie between him and Kirk. I mean, for Mason, it didn't change anything.
Right. I mean, people throughout the day were saying it would be Jacobs, but he has immunity.
And then we go to the rock draw between Gabe, Dylan, and Peyton to reveal who gets to loot Cameron's body next time. And so it's like, okay, so we're not even going to get to see who gets that powerful advantage. But what we do see is a scene from the next episode, in episode 6, that the next tribal is promised to be a doozy.
Oh my lord, those faces.
Yeah. Who knows what it's about? Maybe it's about Kentucky Fried Chicken, coming to Survivor Durant, and I'm just throwing it away in front of them. And they're like, oh my gosh, how could you do this? I don't know. We'll have to tune in and find out.
But now, it's time to award our player of the episode.
Now, Sam, who was the player of the episode?
This, so far, has been the hardest one to decide who's the player of the episode. It was on my mind as I was watching it.
What was really cool about this episode is, unlike the past episodes, you really got a lot of content from a lot of players to pick their brain and to see where they're coming from.
In this episode especially, everyone was making some kind of moves, whether they're passive moves like Mason and Nate, whether it's more out there trying to do something like Taylor, Kirk, and even Cameron. I would like to say that for me,
Be honest.
it was probably Jacobs.
Really? Jacobs was player of the episode. Wow.
For me, Jacobs was the player of the episode from winning the challenge, from making sure that he did his best to be in the conversations. And though unfortunately some people shut him out, he shut others out. I do feel like Jacobs was finally in the mindset of, I'm here, I may as well go for gold.
For me, I think that the player of the episode, though my vote doesn't count, I think that the player of the episode was Kirk. I think that Kirk was able to set himself up the best through this merge vote. And while he was a target on everyone's mind, he didn't go home. He almost did, but he didn't. I also really appreciated Kirk's input on what makes a good game player and what makes a bad game player. And he made a few comments about Jacobs and Cameron not talking to him and how it makes for a bad game player. And it was very enlightening to me to see and understand that what makes a bad game player in the game of Survivor is someone who doesn't communicate. It's like, oh, okay, so it's a game about communication. Later on, we do see that Jacobs comes around and does finally speak to Kirk, and Kirk says that was a major improvement on his game. Kirk, recognizing those things of who's making good moves, who makes bad moves, it's just a testament to the type of player that he is. And for him to go that far into the game as a big target and now has this ninja on him and to survive, it can only be due to the setup that he's done for himself. So that's my vote. But Sam, thank you so much for going behind the mine as always. We appreciate your hard work.
Of course.
And now we're going to go ahead and jump to another segment that I'll have to call 1 Year Later with our special guest.
Hey everyone, I'm here once again for the 1 Year Later segment, this time with my good friend Cameron Pretty. What's up, Pretty?
Hey.
He's alive. He's lasted in the real world past Survivor Durant. Safe, happy, successful. I heard you just got back from Vegas.
I did.
And you bet it all on black?
No, I don't do much gambling. I'm a total nerd. We went for a convention for a game we play.
Heck yeah.
But Vegas was hot. It was very hot. It actually didn't even really compare to being here because it's people talk about the dry heat and the humid heat thing. It's so real. It was nothing. It was way warmer there, but it's worse here.
Okay,
yeah.
That's what I thought because with our humidity, some people say it's like the fourth hottest place on Earth.
Yeah, so if you're outside for sure, but we did get stuck in this like outdoor elevator, like no AC, and it was probably a good 135 degrees in there because it's just baking in the heat, and that was scary because that was just too much.
How do you get stuck in an outdoor elevator?
So it goes like instead of opening when it goes to the bottom like it's supposed to, it goes halfway back upstairs very, very slowly, and then all the way back downstairs very, very slowly. And then luckily it finally opened after that, but we were freaking out because that thing was like slow roasting us.
Oh man. So at what point did you know, like, okay, something's not right here?
The second it started going up again, because it's only 2 floors, and so it's like, what's going on? Yeah, we were about to call 911 if it didn't open right when we were starting to panic. So.
Yeah, for sure. That wouldn't have lasted too much longer.
No, you would pass out in a half hour there in that heat easy.
A demon-possessed elevator. I don't think anyone knows. I don't think I know either. How did you get involved in the Survivor Durant community?
Friends of a friend sort of deal. I'm friends with Abby, who you know. I'm friends with Sam, who you know, and both of them kind of told me about it, and that's just kind of how I got absorbed into the whole thing.
Were you ever a fan of Survivor or have heard of it before?
Oh, I'd heard of it, but I wouldn't call myself a fan per se. I do like watching some similar shows. Like I like a lot of Gordon Ramsay stuff with Hell's Kitchen and stuff. But I've never Survivor. I've never really sat down and watched a whole lot of Survivor.
Let alone go out and play it.
Yeah, like I said, I'm an introverted, nerdy kind of guy. Absolutely not the type of thing I would ever could find myself doing, but I'm glad I did.
We're glad that you did too. Yeah. What else has been like new in your life? What have you been doing lately?
So it's actually been pretty eventful for me. I got my gallbladder taken out a couple months ago, and I've lost about 50 pounds.
I've noticed that you lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So we're twins then. We both don't have gallbladders.
Yeah.
How did it happen for you?
Well, it's I just had some gastrointestinal problems for a while, and I finally got them checked out, and they saw I had some gallstones because I've eaten like garbage for most of my life. So they're like, that's probably what's causing it. We got it taken out, and I'm mostly better now. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What else is like your life looking like currently? Like, what are your hobbies? What are you doing?
So right now I'm spending a lot of time on getting my house in order. Long term, I kind of want to move out of state, somewhere cooler, preferably. So I've been working on kind of redoing my house a little bit so I can maybe sell it for more and get a nice down payment somewhere it's a little more expensive. Yeah, but I've been enjoying putting time and money into that for sure.
I mean, like, you can't go wrong if you're looking for somewhere cooler. There's almost 48 choices.
Yeah,
better
no,
than
you're
here.
kidding.
So when it comes to the game of Survivor and you're starting the game and you're jumping in, whether it was your first time playing or your second time in Battle of the Best, what is your approach to the game? How do you start the game?
Maybe this isn't true for everyone, but it certainly feels true for me. You kind of go in with a plan on how things are going to go, but it never, ever goes according to plan. And you kind of end up having to evolve and adapt the entire time. So that's how I come in, having thought about it a lot, and then within 5 minutes, it's all out the window, and I'm trying to figure things out on the spot. But I try and spend a lot of time getting a read on people, which I don't know if I'm very good at or not, because like I'm not the most social person, but at the same time, I do feel like I'm pretty observant. So I kind of doubt myself sometimes, but that's kind of the direction I try to take my game usually.
Who would you say was the hardest competitor to ever like go against in a Survivor arena?
You're putting me on the spot here because I'm awful with names. So in the first game, the fellow who won. Yeah, it got nullified. That's what it was, the idle nullification.
Yeah.
So that play... and
the first time that you played.
Yes, the first game.
That was Peyton.
Yes, that's what I was talking about, Peyton.
Okay.
That's what I meant.
Okay.
That play is what kind of scared the shit out of me because I realized what people were actually capable of behind the scenes in these sort of games. So I would say that's probably my best example of when someone really stood out to me as a threat. Most of the time I spent playing, I was kind of thinking more about myself and what I'm going to do and how I'm going to handle everyone, more so than I was focused on someone else outside of, hey, this person's really good in challenges, hey, this person's really talkative, so maybe I want to target them. It didn't go deeper than that very often for me, except in moments like that where I just had my mind blown.
So going into Battle of the Best, seeing that Peyton had already did that in the first game that y'all played, Twisted Fate, and then it's like, oh man, there's Peyton again. I get to play Survivor with Peyton again, the person who made this mind-blowing move.
Right.
What were your thoughts on that?
Well, I was a little intimidated, not just by him with that play, but by a lot of the people there, because there are a lot of people who had been into this whole thing longer than I have, who had maybe played more than I have, and maybe who performed better than I have. So I kind of went in there under the assumption that most of these people are going to be better than me. So I was really, really trying to get a grasp on people. And it's kind of like I was saying before we started recording, I kind of came in with that plan and I really wanted to focus on people. And then I really underperformed in a place where I thought I would do a lot better. It just irritated me for a while, so it's hard for me to focus. So I just started kind of coasting for a while. And then as the game progressed a little bit more, I started to get back into it, and I feel like I had overcorrected for all the coasting I had done and made a bigger target on myself than I had intended. So these plays that were working on my head were probably way too risky, and that's what ended up getting me out ultimately.
What is the best advice that you could give someone going to play a Survivor game for the first time? You know, the first time you played, you didn't necessarily know what you were getting into, and now having played 2 times, one time with the best that we have to offer and some of the best in the world,
right?
You now kind of have a grasp of what to expect. You know, if you were to play a third Survivor game, you would know what's going on for the most sense. So what would you tell to people who have no idea what to expect in a Survivor game?
The thing that certainly caught me the most off guard was how much mind games are involved and reading people and like the social aspect of it. My interpretation of it was like, that's the TV stuff, you know, that's the stuff they play up for the people watching. But no, that's very much what the game is. And maybe that's just me not having much of an understanding of the game prior, but that's what caught me the most off guard. I expected it to be mostly about the challenges and people were voting each other off based on how much of a threat they are on that pretty much alone. It is a factor, but that's certainly what caught me most off guard.
You didn't realize how in-depth the game was.
Right.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. The challenges, they do kind of mask what the game's true identity is. It's like the games are Bruce Wayne, but Survivor's really Batman.
Yeah.
It's about this whole strategy sense.
Yeah.
You know, Cameron, we get telegrams from fans all of the time. And this one in particular, his name is No Puzzle Piece Wood. He has a question for you.
Oh, yeah.
And he wants to know, what was going through your mind when you discovered that you had the cursed idol power?
I was really struggling on coming up with a way on how I could use it creatively, because I kind of wanted to make a Peyton play, you know? I thought that would be cool. I thought about it a lot, and I don't think I was ever really happy with any answer I could come up with. I couldn't come up with a good enough justification for it.
On Mystery Island, you and Nate developed a really close friendship for the Mystery Island round. You then were reunited immediately because the following round was merged.
Yeah.
And then he turned around and voted you out.
Yeah.
You confessed to him like everything, all of your advantages that you had, and you even said, if I get voted out next, make sure that you loot my body because I got a lot of stuff.
Right.
How did it make you feel seeing that Nate just kind of betrayed you like that?
So I was shocked at first until I thought about it and then came to the conclusion I'm at now. It's like I realize what I've been doing and I understand how I became a liability for him almost immediately. I just put myself out there too much and caused problems. So it was in his best interest at that point to just take advantage of me.
What sort of like life lessons do you think Survivor could give to someone? If you went into Survivor and you wanted to try to take it with you outside of the game, what could you take away with you leaving Survivor?
How you interact with people, I think, is the biggest thing you'd probably change, because when you're put in an environment where you have to focus so much on like people's speech patterns, even the way like they emote, so you kind of get a better read on not necessarily just when people are lying, but maybe what their ulterior motive is behind their words. So I feel like outside of Survivor, even if you're not explicitly looking for those things, now that you've trained yourself on it a little bit, you might be better in social situations, better at reading people, and it could help you not get taken advantage of, I think, as strange of a way that is to put it.
I agree. And also I would say that being in a game of Survivor helps you discover that you're able to even do those things. And it's like, oh, I'm able to do these things, and then it's like, why not apply them to life? So
right.
I agree with that. Cameron, thank you so much for being here, for being a part of this week's 1 Year Later segment. We're now going to watch some deleted scenes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's that bag hanging over there? Oh, I think it might be trash. I mean, that'd be fine. Let's open like a bag full of these would just be sitting there.
What does that mean? I gotta change it tonight.
That's me. Oh, is that you too?
That's me. You gotta change too?
Yeah. I guess, are we in sync?
Like what? Like
Did we
tonight?
sync
You do it
up?
every 3 days? Okay. So by like what time? By 10 or something?
I'm gonna record y'all. It might be bright, I don't
Uh-huh.
have have my permission to film. pretty sure you signed a contract.
Why'd you pull me over?
License and registration.
Speak! Hey, your name, please. Really?
Who?
It's just, I think we could, but it severely limits, like,
Because
when do we get him, you know?
because we also have to think about numbers of there's 6 of us. I guess we'd still have numbers. There's 5 of us right now.
Yeah, I don't know if we can fully count on camera. For how long? To what end?
To get through the 2 weeks of giving me.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Who else does he have?
Yeah, he said some stuff to me and Dylan about you, about wanting to target you. So
That's cute.
yeah, so I don't think he would like work fully with us for 2 votes.
I forgot that he said that.
I think he'll go with us. I think he'll go with us maybe on this next vote, but I don't know if we can trust him 2 votes.
So
Honestly, he's going to try to mount something against you within the next 2 votes.
Okay, so
but there's the second.
consensus if we go that route.
Yeah.
To protection.
Yeah.
But there's the thing though. We got Kirk and we got him. And there's 2.
And then what do we do if one of them wins immunity on That's
We're
really,
screwed.
that's really nice.
He's coming back.
I think at night fishing?
Hey, just think. Whataburger for lunch if we get to that point. Yes. Whataburger.
You alright, Dylan?
He just likes it. The way he's sitting inside of his sleeping bag right now. He looks like a little mythical creature.
He does.
Like just sitting there.
He looks like he's it's an existential crisis.
Santa Claus just trapped him in his bag and he's
little
trying
pouch.
to rip out of it.
I don't know how you play in all these different survivors like that.
Oh, it's been like 4 years since I played in one.
Oh, 4?
Yeah, since when I played with Cheston. That was like 2018, I think.
Oh, wow.
But you know, COVID hit and stuff, so.
Yeah, and so that slowed a lot of things down.
So Cameron, it's the third morning. It's day 3. How are you feeling?
Okay, and can you talk about your top 3 closest allies?
So right now, it's like 5 people that are pretty close to allies, which sounds crazy, but we're all non-winners. But I have been flipping back and forth about like who I want to move forward with. I haven't lied to anyone saying, hey, let's stick together. Like, I like Ronnie and Ryan because I know I can trust them. But another thing is like, they're very close with each other, so I got to think about what if it becomes a final 2. What am I going to do? Because I could be the odd man out. I'd have to definitely win a Immunity Challenge. And then, you know, the 2 players that aren't from Survivor Grant, they seem pretty tight. And I worry about them working together, so.
So I don't really know what's going on.
I didn't know anything that was going on the outside, if you could see anything.
As far as like finding stuff?
No, like, anyone talking, or y'all just hanging out.
Honestly, dude, we've literally just been like chilling. We've been looking for freaking, I don't know if you heard in the story, it was talking about like
the wishbone
tree. We've been searching for freaking wishbone tree advantage, whatever that is.
I bet it's immunity now.
Literally,
because that's idle.
We've been all collectively doing that, and then we weren't doing that, just literally sitting at camp because we were tired.
Well, at least y'all got to rest.
Yeah.
That's kind of a good way to think of it.
What's left? It could be something like the space between what and must. Because they're clearly like spaced out.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk owns Twitter.
I'm loving the memes where he's just like, he's like, I'm buying McDonald's and I'm bringing the McRib back. And like just stuff like that. People are like making all those.
Yeah.
What's left? I don't know. What's left must be right is like the closest thing I think so far. But that just doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound like something. This one's hard.
Yeah. Up what, down must.
That's
Oh, they kind of do go in different directions.
Oh, I got it. I figured it out.
It's in different directions. It's because it's in different directions.
It's what goes up must come down.
Oh. Okay, that makes sense. And so if we looked at it like this and then,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What goes up must come down?
I have to ask Justin.
Surely that's what it is.
No. What must be left must be right. That's it.
That's what I'm going to tell them.
What's up and to the left
What's up
must come down on the right.
We have it. We're ready.
With some space in between.
With some space in between.
In a rectangle.
Elon Musk. That's the answer.
Was it unanimous?
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
No, I'm dead. Only matter of time.
So what? Do we want to grab anything from this side?
Good job.
I think we can. Oh, dang.
My knees hurt so bad.
Really?
No, we're going to same conversation.
I mean, even at the Breyer vote, which was like the hardest vote for me to make, I did not want to vote Breyer out, but I just knew his social capital was too low to move forward. Like, yes, I can have a +1 vote, but then I'm going to be a duo, and there's more reason to vote me out before Breyer. So the second Breyer's name came up, I was like, I unfortunately have to lose you because TSL has done more for me in this game. Ryan has way more social capital and can win challenges when need be. And also, another reason I didn't want to stay in front of Breyer is we were keeping our tribe strong. And I did not have he hasn't been the greatest at challenges. And it was the better choice had we not merged. We would have been stronger. So I agreed with everything we were seeing at Tribal Council. I couldn't articulate it in front of him because I think he is one of the best men I've ever met. He seems like the best father, like what a lucky kid. Would love to meet his family. I just had a great time with him. I'm getting choked up thinking about it again because
Scoop it up. So are we sleeping under there? Are we going down there? What are we doing? Everybody's going
I think
down
it's
there.
just going to be whatever if you feel like monitoring everybody down there, then go down there. If
Yeah,
not,
that's
then
kind
sleep
of what
up
I'm
here.
thinking.
I
Is
trust
like,
you.
it's like, I'm going to sleep wherever the hell we do.
Yeah, same.
I don't particularly have any thoughts or feelings besides being anxious about this first vote. If I can get out of here, I feel like I have a shot at the whole thing. It really just comes down to this vote.
So I'd like to know, if you survive this vote, what's your plan going forward?
So if I survive this vote, I plan on taking my voodoo idol, which is like a regular idol, except the person who plays it gets the person who they're protecting all of the votes that would have gone to them instead come on to the person who's using the idol. So I'm going to try to trick Mason into taking it, since I don't fully trust him, but I feel like he still trusts me a little bit. So I'm going to spin it like I can't use it myself. That's just a stipulation of it. And I'm going to see if he can pop that on me later. And then I can get Mason taken out of the game and I can save myself another round. After that, I still have my double vote advantage too. So if it comes down to a pretty split round where, there's like a pretty much a tie or close to a tie, that extra vote can really come in handy there and allow me to overcome some unfair odds.
She said that you wanted Kirk to be all the flipping.
Yeah.
So
I had everybody for Kirk, and then
so she
Briar
told
went
me
through.
that, and then I didn't know that. So then I assumed like the person who told me it was Kirk or Shelby, and Kirk was the only other option, and then she confirmed that. So then I was like, okay. So I had to go Shelby.
For your own game.
For me, yeah.
I get that.
I mean, it was nothing but you. And I truly think that, like, your name was her vote. She wrote your name for the advantage thing, and then she flipped it because she thought I had the vote.
Yeah,
So she wrote it.
same. We were completely blindsided. I mean, I'm glad Briar's gone because
Yeah, and that was, like, genuinely, that was the main reason we wanted him out, was because we know he's shifty, we know how he plays, like, doesn't really tell anybody anything, like, keeps everything close to his chest. I was like, he's gonna stress me out. We just gotta get him out of here. And then also we figured there might be another comp, and if it was gonna be a puzzle or something, Kirk and, it just freaked me out. Kirk and Taylor both like find puzzles, so we wouldn't need him for that. So we were like, he's got to go just in case we do another challenge. So those are the two main reasons, but
Keep my pants up. You make it work in Survivor, right? Like Justin said, you never know when something can be taken away from you. I know it's not really going to work. Well, we'll see. We shall see. My waist might be too thick. Never ever thought that about myself. You guys are rolling them up fast. They're going to be musty.
It's gonna go in the wash one again.
Yeah, I'm gonna wash mine
No,
anyway.
that's true. I got to fly with mine, so yeah.
Apparently Cameron has some disadvantages against him that, because of how bad they are, most likely he's going to be compensated with a very big advantage after this round. And this is all secondhand information, obviously, so you can't completely take it to heart. But we just know that we've already caught him in lies, and if something like that does enter the game, it could be bad news for all of us. So I think it's a pretty big consensus to just get him out.
They're still out cold. They're out there over there sleeping in their little makeshift camp over there. We're over here really roughing it. That's what we did.
True survivors.
We had to we watched the well part 2, basically. Just added a couple more people and got a little more colder last night. Yeah. It was kind of wet too, but got that over with, so time to move on from that. Only green grass ahead, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
What are you doing right now?
I was hoping to find Ryan and talk to her. I know her and Taylor walked off. Me and Ryan are pretty close outside the game, so I'm hoping that we can kind of have a conversation and kind of figure out where we're aligned and who's with who. So.
We both got so bright. Dude, we literally emptied that water. My piece still.
So how wild was that?
Like orange. Really? Yeah.
It doesn't sound.
It's one of those things that I just need to make notes of it. Like, you can't do anything now. Yeah. That's why there's more reason we just need to.
Do I need to come back?
No, you're good.
Oh, you're good.
Okay. So
thanks for being respectful.
He definitely wants you, but also like, well, I was gonna see what he said to you and see if he told us the same
if he told the same thing. We'll listen.
So
to you.
he wants you, but obviously you have the idol, so he wants to go Peyton. Is that what he told you?
Yeah, that's what he told me too.
Yeah. He thinks that Peyton has something. I'm not sure why he thinks that, because I don't think there's been anything to indicate that. He thinks that Peyton, like, when he took us to the tree or whatever, yeah, you were there for that. You weren't there for that.
I didn't hear the detail on why he wanted Peyton.
Basically, Peyton, like, thought that he found the wishbone tree and showed it to us, and there was, like, nothing there. And so Cameron was like, I just don't believe that. Like, I think that he has it or he knows who has it or whatever. And I was like, I don't know, man. I mean, he could have just as easily grabbed it or it was just gone already. So, but that's who he's wanting to do. And I think he's trying to pull everybody except Peyton, obviously, and like Gabe and Ronnie. Because he doesn't think that.
So he thinks that those three are working together, I guess.
Well, he just doesn't think that Gabe or Ronnie would vote Peyton on this vote. Okay. So I think, but he was like wanting me to go to everybody else because he's like, there's some of these people I'm not in good with and all that. And I was like, I was just like playing along, you know.
Okay.
Sociologically, it makes the most sense to just get him out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
that's just the dynamics.
Yeah, but he just keep the peace. Get this vote.
Yeah,
Let's move on.
Make it super interesting for the next few rounds. I mean,
so it's the smart.
Where
move.
is the ninja? Is it on under your jacket?
I don't know.
I can see his chest. Yeah.
How do you think I should pay to get the voodoo curse put on me? His vote switches on to him.
if you want to.
Or do you think it'd be a waste? Or you put it on him.
Or put it on him, and then his vote casted against.
It could be useful, but it also could be a waste if he does have something like a super idol.
Or if he cleanses himself.
I know that everybody's worry is that he does like have a super idol, but I don't think that he has that. I think whatever he's getting from this island is something different than that. But I could see him just winning a super advantage, but he would have to have an idol to pair it with already.
There's not any full color from the start. Yeah,
Now it's gone.
3-3-2-2.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, 3-3-2-2. Yeah, that's how it is. I think 3 green, or no, only 2 greens.
There's 2 greens?
Right?
From the original green?
Mason and
Mason and Jacobs?
Jacob. No, wait. Oh, Cam. That's 3. Cam was on there.
1, 2, 3. Yep.
So no, it's y'all's that no, y'all have 3. Oh, so it's 3-3-3-2. Is what it is.
We only have 2 left. It's just
me.
Oh no, there's 3. Yeah, me and Nate.
Because it's 11 people right now.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I just missed one. Whoopsie.
As far as that original tribe goes.
Yeah. So this first should be an easy one. I'm glad we don't have to like really think about this one.
Well, people maybe change my name. I don't know. If they are, that's fine.
If they are, I haven't heard it, to be honest with you.
I haven't heard it yet. Unless it's that group right there. It's just saying your name in a circle.
There's only been one person to say one name, and it's mine. But he's coming this way. He's over there.
Cam's coming back?
Yeah, he's coming from over there. So
it just depends on his power and if he can play it. Yeah. It might be somebody that just goes. If he has like some kind of super idol thing. Sure.
Yeah,
but even if he does, you have to vote a super idol out twice. You have to. Because otherwise they have it the whole game and they're safe till 5 if they get to 4. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because no matter, it's the most powerful thing in Survivor. I don't think that's what it is though. But just in case.
Just in case, yeah.
I teamed up with somebody in the game that I played with Taylor where she was out. Somebody found a super idol and they could not get that dude out. So I teamed up right with him. I was like, whoa.
You teamed up with the guy with the super idol?
Yeah, because like they were too scared to vote him out. So I'm like, well, if you can't convince them, might as well join them.
Is it more power that for people to know they have a super idol, or the ones that don't know?
You know, when he had it, it spread like wildfire.
Oh, so
like
everyone's telling everyone.
So everybody knew one was in the game. But then when it was found, it was like boop, 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 boop. Everybody knew right away, and I think it terrified everybody.
Yeah,
I don't know. And also I don't think they thought it through. You know?
Yeah, they didn't think about it. Huh.
Any game though.
I'd take Briar anywhere if we're not playing games.
That's what you're playing games.
I cuddled with him last night.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, was he cuddling you or you?
That's for life. Body needed it.
Or tomorrow we're here.
Yeah, I can
move him for you.
I have the phobia.
Mason, is that a banana in your pocket or are you happy to see it?
It's all good.
It's a banana.
Pineapple.
Oranges.
A little grainy. That's a
Oh yeah, it's actually grapes.
Oh yeah.
The strawberries are pretty good. They're ripe.
They're real good. Yeah. Sweet.
I couldn't tell by looking at them like that. I was like, I don't know, it may be.
We waited up forever, and then we made our beds in less than 5 minutes. He was like, come on.
Oh my god.
Go eat some apples.
And we sat in the grass for another half hour.
Oh, not that heel.
Hell yeah,
I could get away from
too.
them.
What an interesting beer.
Right? What do I want next?
Gosh, I'm gonna feel like I've never eaten
What's
this
that on
fast.
that
I know. I just ate like a whole bushel of grapes in 4 seconds.
May not be any good this one, folks.
What?
Yeah. This next challenge.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
What are y'all doing with those peelings? Y'all just kind of chunking them?
Yeah.
Chuck them in the water.
It's
That's
biodegradable.
nature.
Fish were eating.
Birds will eat it.
We're trying to grow fruit out here.